Welcome everybody. We're live here from the Bodybuilding.com headquarters in Boise, Idaho to talk to you today about supplements and what we have on promotion. I'm here again with Alec and Tyler.
How's it going?
And we're here to answer your questions. You can follow us on Twitter at Bodybuilding.com. We'll be fielding questions on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube.
The YouTube.
Yeah.
So to kick it off, we're going to talk through some of the products we have on promotion. All of the products we're featuring are available for 25% off. Yes. It's only available for like another 12 hours or something like that.
Not very long,
so
12 hours.
Hurry up, but if you have questions, shoot them to us, and we'll try to answer them. To start, we have GAT's Nitraflex.
Yes.
It's on sale for 25% off. It's a great pre-workout. Why don't you guys talk about that, and I'll find some questions.
All right, well, GAT Nitraflex is a pretty cool product that's got a couple of different proprietary blends in it that make it kind of exciting. One of them is a vascularity blend, so it kind of helps you get a little bit pumped up. It's got citrulline, the L form, L-citrulline, but also citrulline malate. It's got arginine alpha-ketoglutarate, and then a couple of antioxidants like resveratrol and pterostilbene. So, pretty cool products. Alex, do you want to talk about the nootropic blend a little bit?
Most definitely. So for those that don't just want the itchiness, they want to actually zone in and get that focus. Nootropics are the bread and butter for that situation. So in this case, they always the go-to. Caffeine is king when it comes to this, but beta-alanine as well. We've got a decent dose of carnosine in there. And DMAE, which is a choline precursor, so that gets a little bit of focus going more with that end. And
Choline precursor, talk to me more about that.
well, precursor meaning prior. So it turns into choline with that, and in that sense, it's more of a neurotransmitter that helps you more or less zone in, get
Right,
focused.
so choline turns into acetylcholine, and I think we've all heard of acetylcholine being one of the big-time neurotransmitters in the brain. And so what happens is if you increase the amount of choline by supplementing with a choline precursor, then you would get more acetylcholine, which allows your brain to work just a little bit better, a little bit more focused and zoned in. So
Science.
That's
So I'll
the
be
theory there.
smarter or more focused.
yeah, and
Awesome.
It's also got some pretty cool flavors like pina colada, black cherry, green apple. So
Black cherry is bomb, actually.
the best.
What do we have here? I'll be keeping this. Pina colada.
and that's mine.
My
Thank you
personal
very
stash.
much.
We have a question here just about the show itself. Is this a new thing that we're doing? Yes, we just started doing this last week. We're planning on coming to weekly. Hopefully there's some interest there. Ask us your questions about supplementation. Maybe you have some questions about programs on our site. We'll do the best we can to answer them. And then also just talk to you about the great products we have in promotion for the week. And not just that, hey, we have products for sale, but why you could be taking them and why the ingredients in there are beneficial to your training or whatever your goals may be.
We'd like this to be informative, but also we have our promotions, but we want you to learn something too as well. So hopefully it doesn't seem like one long commercial. We want you to be educated, know that we know what we're talking about. So hopefully you get something out of it as well.
And a lot of it's just interacting with everyone else outside of just the company. So those that don't know, there are actually people working here every day and also taking the supplements alongside everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
So cool. Next one, we got Ergo Pre.
Yeah.
Yummy.
Boom. Ooh, glacier
Glacier.
flavor. Yes.
So we had Ergo Pre on our show last week. This is a really popular one within the office. We really enjoy this as a pre-workout for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's got very clinically backed doses of a lot of ingredients, including caffeine and alpha GPC, which is another choline precursor. These are, it's a simple label. It's not a ton of ingredients to confuse a consumer, but also, and this is a big thing for us, it tastes amazing. You saw the glacier flavor there. That's kind of like a blueberry lemonade. But there's also an appleberry. There's a, what's the other one? Pineapple mango?
Pineapple mango.
Yeah, and they're all just outstanding. So
Really
I
good.
highly recommend Ergo Pre.
I find this one mixes really well too, so if you don't want to take a big shaker full of pre-workout, I like to generally take like a smaller shot because I know I have to get to the gym at say 6 o'clock and I take my pre-workout only about 15-20 minutes prior. It's a great way to just take a small amount of liquid instead of some bigger ones that maybe have more ingredients, but for me it works really well because I don't have to, like I said, mix it with a
And not to
gallon of water.
mention, even with a small amount of water, it doesn't feel totally concentrated to the point where it's just too much for you to handle. And again, back to this flavor, I actually have a bottle of this at home. It tastes like a blue Gatorade as well. So
That's a really good, like the blue glacier Gatorade. Yeah.
absolutely.
We do have a question, a couple of them coming in on Facebook here. Where'd it go? Is niacin harmful?
Niacin harmful. So niacin is just a very scientific name for vitamin B, one of the B vitamins. It has been used in clinical applications, but only in mega high doses. You're not going to see any dangerous amounts of niacin in any of the supplements that you're going to be taking here. I have heard of people taking niacin getting like a flushed face. You can get a little bit of redness just from increased blood flow in the facial vessels, but not if you're taking a supplement. We just don't have the kind of doses that you're looking for niacin, no. So don't worry about that one.
What do we got over on YouTube? Any questions coming in?
It sounds like a little bit more of people are asking about fat burners, which I think, do we have those this
I don't
week?
think we're pushing any
No,
fat
No
burners.
fat
this
burners
week.
this week on promotion.
No, and
So.
let's see here. How many protein shakes a day should you take?
That's a
not
good
a
question.
bad
That's a good question. It all depends. Again, last week we kind of touched on it a bit. Those who weren't viewing in last week, a lot of it comes down to your daily diet in general, not just for supplementation, because supplements in the end are there to supplement your food diet. So for myself, I usually take probably one a day, 1 to 2. Depends if I'm on the go and I need to fit something in.
Yeah. I mean, it depends what you're eating, right? So I mean, if you have a diet that's high in protein, you get your chicken and your steak and your fish throughout the day, then you probably don't need that many protein shakes. But maybe your budget doesn't allow you to buy a lot of meat or a lot of protein sources, and so that might be more important to get some protein shakes there, just to, again, supplement what you are eating.
Yeah, it totally depends on your goals and your preference. I find I'll take a shake at night. Generally, it helps me kind of curb that sweet tooth that I have. So during the day, I do a lot of whole foods, and sometimes pre-workout, I'll do maybe an hour before I'll do a shake, but for the most part, just 1 or 2 a day.
Or even if you want to like incorporate your powders into like foods, like Protemeal is a good one.
Ooh,
Protein
yeah.
oatmeal.
Broatmeal.
Broatmeal.
Broatmeal, yeah.
Broatmeal.
Brothels.
Brothels.
So waffles.
Yep.
That's kind of my go-to.
Sounds good.
this
I'd
week.
have that.
That's a thing. So I would say just in general, it depends on the person. Again, body weight is another thing in terms of it. Graham, whatever your protein content is, it's really individualized. Myself is different than this big guy. So it all depends on what your goals are at the time as well. So
I agree.
I got a couple questions here, and then we can check on Twitch as well. But can you take pre-workout and then amino energy while working out?
yeah, most definitely.
I don't see why not. The only issue that I would be worried about would be just the sheer amount of caffeine. I mean, pre-workouts are known to have really high doses of caffeine, somewhere between 200 to 300 milligrams. And if you're taking an energy, what was it, the BCAA energy? Or if you're taking something else with caffeine in it, then you're just stacking either 100 or 200 more milligrams of caffeine on top of that. And there are plenty of people who have been taking caffeine forever, and they have a very high tolerance and would have no issue with that. But if you're new to the pre-workout scene, then I would probably make sure that I'm going easy on the caffeine supplements in addition to the pre-workouts, because they're already so high in stimulants for the most part. That is, except for the low stimulant pre-workouts.
Having said that, if you're like myself, who has a rather high tolerance and it still kicks in pretty hard, if you are feeling like you didn't get enough in going into it, or say you got delayed, like you were on an errand and you took a pre and you feel like you need a little extra jump, go for it.
Right.
Or you work out at 6 a.m. like myself. I like to be a zombie and have enough stim to put a horse down, but that's just me.
We all have different objectives, I guess.
Perfect.
But moving on to some other products on promotion this week, some pre-workouts from the C4 family. We have
Cellucor.
Ultimate, the OG, and the new one, Zero. And actually goes back to a question I had about something about products without sugar and things like that. So what's cool about this new line from Cellucor is the ID series. You have a few different versions that may fit your goal. So maybe you don't want a ton of caffeine and you want to go with the OG, or if you want extra everything, extreme energy, all the different great things, you have something like Ultimate, or if you don't want some of the other things that you don't need, like creatine, carbs, sugar, additional calories, C4 Zero is great for that. So I'm sure you guys can talk a lot more about the benefits of the different products here and really what makes them different from one another.
Sure. So we had the C4 Zero on our program last week, and one of the big things about C4 Zero is they're advertising that it has zero tingles. So they've completely eliminated the beta-alanine from the product, because there are a lot of consumers who just really don't like that tingly feeling that it gets you. Now, the tingles aren't really the purpose of the beta-alanine. The purpose is to help with lactate production and get rid of some of that burn sensation. But unfortunately, one of the side effects of the beta-alanine is the tingles, because it'll actually kind of antagonize the nerve endings throughout kind of some of the smaller vessels in your body.
I love the tingles. It doesn't bother me. I kind of like it.
Some people are all about it. And I know my buddy over here likes to do extra beta-alanine because he loves it so much.
Yeah, I think I sent him a snap yesterday saying I accidentally took 6 grams.
It tells me like it's go time. I'm like, all right,
so it's
can't sit around anymore.
It's a good little way to tell. But anyway, so this is for those people who don't like it.
And then there's the people that do.
That's right.
And this one has double the dose of beta-alanine than the normal C4 does.
That's right. And it's not just about the extra beta-alanine. This is considered what Cellucor likes to think is the ultimate pre-workout. So it's not only does it have twice the carnosine beta-alanine in it, but it also has a couple of other really cool ingredients. It's got a full 6-gram dose of citrulline malate. It's got betaine for extra strength. One of the newer ingredients called nitrosogene, which is an arginine inositol. Arginine has kind of a hard time with digestion because it'll get broken down before it gets into your system. But when it has this extra inositol group on it, it can actually get into your system a little bit more effectively and carry out some of those nitric oxide boosting properties. And then, yeah, and then it's also got a little bit more of a neuro blend in it as well. It's got teocrine, it's got caffeine, it's got huperzine, and then it's got a newer ingredient called zembrin, which is an extract of Scalentium tortuosum. So that one's also very exciting.
A couple questions here. Does creatine make you sweat more, or is that just because I'm drinking more water?
Does creatine make you sweat more? I haven't actually read anything about creatine increasing body temperature, and I don't believe that increasing water intake should be increasing sweat output at all. Maybe it's because you're increasing your amount of creatine, so you're increasing your output, and since you're increasing that output, you're also increasing your body temperature.
There's probably a couple other factors at play there.
Yeah, it's definitely not A plus B equals C in this case. It's definitely more confounding, but I would say, if anything, it's one, you're probably working harder just because your body's able to do more.
Yeah.
And yeah, maybe you're drinking more water in general, which is always a good thing. But yeah, there's more to go on from that. But I actually have a question on the YouTube. It's more of a training question, but it is it possible to do weight training to burn fat and not bulk up?
To burn fat and not bulk up?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of it comes down to diet. Are you eating more for what you're doing? If you're burning more than what you're consuming, absolutely. On top of that, if your training split has more supersets, you're trying to get your heart rate a little bit more, you're putting your body in a more high intensity kind of mindset.
I mean, I would even say that it's harder to slim down without weight training.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, your gains are going away if you don't eat enough.
But you need
It's
that
all about
muscle
the
mass, right?
So
I do have a question over here on Twitch from Jinx. How much research has been done on creatine?
all of it.
Our old friend Chrissy Kendall loves to talk about how creatine is the most researched ingredient on the market. It has been looked at in dozens and dozens, if not hundreds of studies in multiple populations, ranging from minors all the way up to elderly adults, from healthy people to people with cognitive disorders, all over the place.
Yeah, that's one thing I just learned is the cognitive benefits and all the strength benefits. I mean, it seems like
it's pretty
super
versatile.
solid.
It's super safe.
And
As long as you're going with I mean, even if you go a little bit higher on it, and we generally like to push a 5-gram dose of creatine every day, but people load with it all the way up to 20 grams in a day. And the idea that you can go 4 times the normal dose with an ingredient with zero worry about any safety outcomes is a really great thing. So anyway, as far as supplements go, huge amount of
and
research.
it's going to be the cheapest one bang for your buck in the
super
market. Absolutely. You can get it preferably on our site, but you can find it pretty much anywhere.
Everywhere.
So, and then what's the next one we got?
Well, let's see. I got a question while we're pulling up some other products. Mark read that you should take BCAAs first thing in the morning, but how is it for fat loss if you work out in the early morning? In a fasted state, do BCAAs convert to glucose, which should hinder fat loss? What would you recommend, yay or nay? BCAAs
Would you take BCAAs in the morning? All right, well, I don't believe that taking BCAAs before your morning workout would really affect how much fat you're going to be losing.
No.
I mean, yeah, those BCAAs can be turned into energy. They wouldn't turn into a significant amount of glucose.
Okay.
They wouldn't be like a main source of calories or a main source of energy. In the morning, if you're waking up and all you're taking is a 0-calorie BCAA drink, most of your energy is going to be coming from energy that's already stored within your body, whether it's stored as glycogen or whether it's stored as fat, which is what we want.
It's not really coming from the BCAAs.
Not really coming from the BCAAs. No, those would be used probably either during or after the workout to maintain muscle anabolism or to decrease catabolism or something like that. So I wouldn't worry about it. I think it's not a bad way to start the morning, especially if you're going to take the BCAAs with a little bit of caffeine in them. Maybe kickstart your morning a little bit and get you more energized to work out even harder that day. So
And if you want something sweet in the morning, depending on the flavor.
So a little whey.
Let's see. We just were talking about creatine, but is creatine necessary is a question we just got on Facebook.
I don't believe it is necessary. You're definitely welcome to go out and exercise as much as you want. But there are very few supplements that have been shown to be just so darn effective. I mean, so creatine converts into phosphocreatine, which is the energy system that your body uses first when doing resistance exercise, and it has been shown in multiple studies that taking creatine consistently over time shows very significant increases in strength compared to people who are not taking creatine or taking a placebo. So I mean, is it going to wreck your gains? Is it going to make it so that you are not improving if you don't take creatine? Absolutely not. Yeah. People didn't take creatine for a long time and they still got stronger.
They're called supplements for just that, right?
That's
it's
right.
to supplement your diet or to fill in the gaps, and you get creatine from red meat and other sources, right? You just don't get them in very big doses, right? So it's to kind of enhance your program. It's to fill in the gaps from whole foods. And if you're training at a really high level, you're going to require some more of these nutrients than, say, someone that doesn't train or lift. So are they essential? I think they help. They definitely prove to be beneficial.
They help.
Are they a must-have? Like, you can't do it without them? Of course you can do it without them. But if you want to take it to another level and fill in the gaps in your whole foods and nutrition, supplements are a great way to go.
Oh, absolutely. It's just quick and effective, and a lot of it comes down to price. People say that, it's not my budget, but a 500-gram thing of creatine is what?
Cheap.
Just over $10?
Cheap.
Something like that?
Yeah.
I mean, we've
very
got,
affordable.
I see 60 serving, 100 servings, all for under $20. It's pretty easy to get your hands on. I actually have a creatine question again on Twitch over here from Dem Gains Daily. That's awesome.
Good one.
Is creatine okay to take as a female? Absolutely. There's no problem with taking creatine. Your energy systems work the same way. I wouldn't have any problem with having a female take creatine.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're getting tons of creatine questions too, so let's try to knock a few of them out. Sorry to stay on the creatine train, but HCl or monohydrate? Russell Lehman from Facebook.
I have the same question over here. Mono is what I always recommend. In terms of price, and studies are primarily done on monohydrate. HCl.
I'm sorry, I was looking over here. I missed the question.
Oh, HCl versus mono.
Monohydrate?
Yeah.
Okay. But to me, it just goes back to sheer volume of research. Creatine monohydrate has been looked at, like I said, in dozens and dozens of studies over and over again, and has shown consistent success. Creatine HCl is a little bit newer. There is a very limited amount of research, but research that shows that it absorbs very, very well and works in a little bit smaller doses. But creatine monohydrate's cheap. It's easy to get your hands on. Works well.
Studied, yeah.
Most
sounds like
studied,
a winner to me.
It feels like the most effective form to me.
Trevor's asking, is there a good resource for creating workouts with supersets? Now, Bodybuilding.com is a great resource for all types of training information. We have full 12-week programs. If you search for supersets, you'll find exercises, whether it's a body part exercise or maybe a full workout for the day that includes supersets. We have tons of them there. It's all for free. Check it out on Bodybuilding.com if you haven't been over there. If you're shopping for supplements, the next 12 hours or 14 hours is a great time to do it. We have 25% off all the products that you see on here today. Pretty much all of these, I believe, everything here will ship free on orders over $49. So
Are they all Be Elite?
I think everything here is Be Elite today.
right.
Yeah, so I mean, you could get this whole swath of products shipped to your door within, say, 2 to 6 days, depending on where you live, for free.
For free.
Can't beat that.
Over $49.
Over $49. And
right.
We would have gotten there with
And
this
I guess
assortment,
it seems fitting to end us with one more, I shouldn't say end us, but go around with one more creatine question. So beefy gains, why isn't creatine dosed based on total lean body mass? Wouldn't it make sense that if you have more muscle mass, you need more creatine? Why is it 5 grams across the board for a 120-pound guy versus a 250-pound guy? And then Winter Genesis also asks how much is okay to take in a day. So I'm gonna actually answer Genesis's first, just because it's a little bit more straightforward. Generally, the recommended dose is about 5 grams a day. How much is okay to take up to in a day? Generally, the loading phase is considered about 20 grams a day. I haven't read any safety information that says taking 30 or 40 in a day is particularly dangerous, but I don't see why you would want to over supplement like that, because you wouldn't be able to absorb
reaping
or
any additional
use.
benefits,
Yeah, you wouldn't get anything out of it.
Gotcha.
So if we take a step backwards and look at beefy gains, why is it that
Beefy gains.
a 120-pound person versus a 250-pound person would take the same? And I think that actually kind of ties back into our previous answer. It's just
Absorption.
how much can you take in all at once, and how much can your body use all at once? Yes, if you have a little bit more muscle mass, you could probably absorb and metabolize a little bit more. But all the studies look at 5 grams, and they look at them for resistance-trained males that are big and beefy, and they have shown that 5 grams is a successful and useful, effective dose. And so I don't think if you, I don't know why you would want to take more than that if we know that 5 grams is effective.
Because more is better?
I mean,
It feels cool to go like this.
More is always better.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about these two pre-workouts.
Sure. Yes.
We have the Vapor X5. This is the next gen in candy watermelon, which I haven't tried that one. But the Neuro, I have tried. I'm taking this right now, the peach mango, one that's super delicious. We were talking a little bit about creatine, and another product I believe is some sort of cognitive enhancement, but this has like a whole Neuro stack in here. Right. I guess that's a big differentiator. Can you guys talk a little bit about, one, what are the ingredients in here that make it Neuro, and why would I even want that in my pre-workout?
Okay, so we're going to talk about the Neuro blend here, and I believe the Neuro blend includes alpha GPC, which is alpha glyceryl phosphocholine, which is a very long way to say it is another choline precursor, which will increase the amount of acetylcholine in your brain space, which is good. It's also got L-theanine. L-theanine is an amino acid. It's not a structural amino acid, but it is an amino acid that has been shown to help you be a little bit more focused, a little bit more zoned in. And it's also got huperzine, which is, here's a big one, it is a acetylcholinesterase inhibitor. Now that's a really big way to say that it inhibits the enzyme that gets rid of acetylcholine. So if we get rid of the enzyme that inhibits it, then we are making it more active over here. So we're increasing it. All right, and it also has some N-acetyl L-carnitine. L-carnitine has actually been shown to go beyond the fat metabolizing and actually help with some brain stimulation as well. So it's a pretty effective nootropic. It helps you zone in and be a little bit more, I guess, focused in the gym. I mean, you're the one that uses it. Tell me what you think.
No, I don't get a super, itchiness from this product or so much caffeine that I feel like I can't stand still. But I do find I'm a bit more focused. I'm really kind of focused on my lifts, the music. I'm not really distracted as much.
Don't spend too much time on your phone, right?
I'm not really on my phone. I try to keep my phone. I use Bluetooth headphones to keep it away from me so I don't get distracted. Next thing you know, you get some email and you're totally not focused on what you should be. So the one thing I don't know, am I more focused? I think so. I take it tastes good, it gets me ready to go. I feel the energy, but then when I'm in there, I just feel like I'm really focused on the lifts that I'm doing and not getting too distracted. And that's what I need, because I only have about 60 minutes to train after work.
Okay.
So it's important that I get in there, get it done, and get out.
All right, good.
Absolutely.
Let's see, I have another question here. And one, we just want to thank you guys for tuning in. These questions are really fueling what we're doing. We could talk about these Supps all day, as you can tell. We take them, we like them, and these guys know a ton about them, so keep those questions coming. And this is for you. So we want to talk to you about not only the promotion that's going on, these products are available for 25% off for the next 12 to 14 hours or so. And they will ship for free on orders over $49 through the Be Elite program. But also just ask us your questions about ingredients, products, training, whatever you might have. If we can't answer them now, we'll get back to you. But thanks for joining us. And you can reach us on Twitch. We're taking questions on YouTube as well as Facebook, and all of those are on Bodybuilding.com. Bodybuilding.com. Let's see, we have a couple questions here. For all kinds of HIIT workouts, what supplements do you recommend taking? I'm currently taking protein, BCAAs, and creatine, and beta-alanine. Is there another supplement you want to put to add to the list? LOL. Asked Tony.
Caffeine.
Caffeine. Yeah, I don't see anything about a pre-workout in here, but yeah.
Caffeine.
Get that stimulation.
Absolutely. Caffeine will give you the endurance. It'll get you more pumped up to get, because I know HIIT is very short term. It's kind of big energy for a short amount of time, and that's just what you want with caffeine, right?
Well, it's like trying to go into, so it's like starting your car engine and deciding you want to go up to 80 real quick. So you kind of want to prime yourself, and caffeine kind of gets you going to start it out. So at least that's what, like, for instance, this morning is my active rest day. I do a little cardio in the morning, and I take a relatively low stim for me. And
Team No Rest Days over here. We have a question here. Art Cat said, just got on, what'd I miss? Well, we're just talking about Supps today. We're talking about ingredients. We're answering your questions. So if you have any questions about the products we're showing or about training or anything else, hopefully we can answer. Be sure to hit us up. Again, we work here at Bodybuilding.com. We're downstairs right now, just going live on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook to answer your questions. We just want to be a resource for you. Come with it. Try to stump us, I guess. Well, you can stump me all day. I have no answers for you, but these guys are almost unstumpable. So please send them on over. Let's see. I have a question that just came in. As an ectomorph, what supplement would you recommend over creatine and whey, and obviously natural foods, to improve mass gains? I've plateaued on 78 for now. Any recommendations? And we've had a few questions about adding size, gaining mass across all channels here. I guess it boils down to, what are like the essentials for building size?
Calories.
Calories.
Absolutely calories. So your body is not going to be able to build muscle unless it has both the substrates to do so, like amino acid, but also the energy. Building muscle takes a lot of energy, takes a lot of ATP, and your body needs to have as many calories as it can get its hands on, or else it's just not going to have the workforce to do it. So because to build something, you have to have materials and you have to have people to put it down, and so it's got to have the energy.
So with that in mind, besides whole foods within the question, if you don't want to buy a gainer, there are always carbohydrate supplements you can add to like your protein. I know most of them are coming in a 50-gram scoop, and that's 200 calories right there. So if you feel like adding that to your pre-workout, intra, post, adding a couple shakes throughout your day, carbs are king.
And they taste pretty good too, so it shouldn't be too hard.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I got a question here on Twitch. Do these products have a lot of artificial sweeteners or preservatives? Sorry if that's a silly question. It's not a silly question. Actually, I think that's kind of important to know what's in them. I know we have the facts panels on the back, but sometimes the sweeteners and stuff get kind of lost in the bottom. But I know, Alec, you're pretty savvy on the compliance issues there. So can you talk to that for just a minute?
So artificial sweeteners on that end?
Yeah.
So a lot of that would be, with US regulations, you have to call them out. And it'll be on the principal display panel if you're going to know that it's going to be there. So with that, this would be considered the principal display panel. And there is actually a regulation within a code of federal regulations that requires to be there if it's natural, artificial. And with that in mind, we usually, when we're doing SKU onboarding, if they don't have that there, we ask for documentation and say, is it natural or not? And for instance, US, that's relatively straightforward, but for the EU, for that, it's absolutely required. Absolutely. And it actually needs to be in the description of the product itself.
Yeah. So that way you'll always know if your product has natural sweeteners like stevia, or if it uses artificial flavors like sucralose or other things as well. So that's nice to know that those are looked at least.
Yeah. We have a training question coming in from Daniel on Facebook. Is leg press okay instead of back squat? I've tried to do it multiple times, but it hurts my back too much. Or is there a different variation you recommend?
I'd definitely send that one over to Alec.
I would say it depends. Like some people, you can go back and forth between them. If you happen to have some sort of lower back pain or your core isn't strong enough, it doesn't hurt to do that. Plenty of people leg press. Definitely recommend to do back squats just because it's one of the better full body workouts and actually builds your core up the entire time.
That's right.
However, if you do need to focus more on, say, if you have even shoulder pain, like some people, if you tweak, you get an impingement, it's harder to put the bar properly in your back.
With mobility problems, yeah, sometimes it can be tough to get
You got to
right
reach all the way back there to hold
Exactly.
the bar.
And some places have safety squat bars, so you're able to kind of grab it from here. However, leg press, if you want to hit more of your quad that day, do so. There's a way you can do narrow feet if you want to hit more of your medialis. If you want to go wide, go that way. There's no pain in doing that. Just know that essentially if your body hurts doing something, don't do it.
Yeah, I would also say maybe dial down the weights. That could be one thing too. I find when I try to jump the gun and go a little too heavy, that's when I start to run into problems. So the back squat is a great exercise. Maybe you just need to dial down the weights a little bit, but listen to your body. If your body's more comfortable being on a leg press and you're still getting the leg development that you're looking for and the strength increases, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Well, there's just so much stabilization that has to take place with the back squat. Sure. I mean, you have a free weight, you're holding it kind of in an awkward position, and as you're going down, you're engaging so many different muscles within both your legs and your core, and there's so much going on, and so it can be really easy to tweak something that you didn't really want to tweak. But with a leg press, it's much more controlled. You only have one direction that you can move. You're engaging, like you said, your quads are a lot more. So I guess if you're going to do leg press instead of the squat, I would consider also supplementing that with maybe some hamstring curls or something as well, just so you're getting a well-rounded exercise.
Good advice, yeah.
I'd also say buy a big resistance band and focus on mobility with your hips prior and your glutes and loosening up your hamstrings. One thing with me, that the difference between training in my mid-20s versus when I was a teenager in early 20s is I stretch probably a good 30 minutes at least.
You're an old man now, huh?
Well, it's hard, man.
All right, I've had this question a couple times in one form or another, and it's varying about pre-workouts before cardio or pre-workouts before HIIT. Should I take them, yay or nay?
It's up to you. If you prefer to have a little bit more get up and go, yeah.
I don't see any reason why there's no health reason why you shouldn't. I think it all comes down to what your body is capable of dealing with, right? So if you have never had a pre-workout and you want to do a high-intensity workout, I would maybe stay away from some of the super high-stim pre-workouts just because that's going to feel like a lot. But if you've been taking pre-workout for a long time and you're really comfortable with the kind of the standard 250, 300 mgs, then throw it in there. I don't think it's going to do anything for you, even though you're working with a high
tolerances, especially if there's a new ingredient I'm not used to taking, just to see how you react to it, and then maybe you take another scoop next time. But it can't hurt to just.
And then if you want, you can just move up after that.
And then before we move on to the next group of products, we do have MusclePharm Assault on sale for 25% off the next 12 to 14 hours or so for our sale. This product ships free on orders over $49. And let's talk a little bit about MusclePharm's Assault pre-workout.
So this is a cooler pre-workout, I think, because it includes a little bit of creatine monohydrate. Now,
And not to mention the taste is always on point. MusclePharm does a good job on that.
Yeah,
I actually never tasted the MusclePharm before. Might have to try it a little bit later.
Oh, take that one.
Oh, is it pump?
A few of them today. This one here is the pump mode. We're going to get through their vitamins as well as recover mode, products I actually like a lot. But starting with pump mode, and I think this goes back to some of the questions we've had about pre-workouts in general, whether it's before cardio or HIIT or this or that. Here's a non-stim, right? A non-stimulant pre-workout. So maybe you don't want to get that super high heart rate, or you're not really stim tolerant, or maybe you drink enough and you want EVL's pump mode.
I mean, I don't know if I would have this product by itself. I don't know if it's a he or she. Are all BCAAs equal? Does it make a difference when taking BCAAs versus a protein shake? You want to go for it?
I would say in terms of what your diet allows, if you have any restrictions on there, if you feel like you would rather get your protein from meat sources or other whole foods, and you still want to get like a little sweet taste, BCAAs are a great idea. I prefer to stick to protein, but that's just me, kind of where I'm at right now. But overall, in the end, both are meant to supplement your diet. However, if you're going to do it, whatever your preference is, if you're on a more, if you're a bit more lactose intolerant, BCAA is a great option to do in that case. However, at the end of the day, what's your goal? How's your body react to things? And what is your budget like?
Yeah.
Solid.
I have a couple questions coming in. One, is dextrose a good carb load supplement with whey after an intense workout? We've had a couple questions about dextrose.
It is a carb loading supplement, absolutely. It's straight sugar. It's going to turn right into glucose once it gets into your system, and it is going to act just like every other sugar.
Why would I want that after my workout?
Okay, so that's a great question. So when you are exercising and your body is using energy, it mainly gets its energy from energy that is stored in your muscle in the form of glycogen. Glycogen is just stored up glucose in a very complex matrix, and it breaks down that matrix in order to get glucose fast and easy. And so when you supplement with a sugar product after you're done working out, it allows your body to replenish that glycogen a lot more effectively and a lot more quickly. So if I am exercising and I don't take any sugar or any carb supplement after I'm done, then my body's got to struggle to convert a lot of other things into glycogen so that it's ready for the next workout. And since it has to work so much harder, it also works a lot slower. And so if I'm going to be exercising multiple days in a row and working out hard and I want to get continuous positive results, then supplementing with a carb product might not be a bad idea so that you can recover a little bit more effectively.
Cool. Any insights on D-aspartic acid?
D-aspartic acid.
I'll let you take the reign on that one.
So D-aspartic is a very popular ingredient for testosterone boosters, and we see it pretty consistently across the test boosting market. There are studies that have shown that I think it's 3.2 grams of D-aspartic acid taken daily have improved the free testosterone levels of some populations. I think that study was done in middle-aged to older men. But there have also been some contradicting studies. So more recent studies have shown that D-aspartic may not be quite as potent as we thought it was before. I still see it in all the test booster products. There's still a chance that it could make a difference. But like I said, the science is a little bit conflicting, so it's a little bit more difficult to make a very definitive answer. Yes, it does. No, it doesn't. So for right now, it's up to you if you'd like to try it out. It's not going to hurt you. It's just another amino acid, and you can take as much as 3.2 grams a day without any worry of health issues. And I'd love to hear if people have positive results with it.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Telling me there's a chance. So we're moving on to post workouts. I think we covered creatine. We'll probably get into that again here as we get into post-workouts, and we definitely hammered pre-workouts really well. Again, all the pre-workouts we covered are available for 25% off right now on Bodybuilding.com.
That's right.
Orders over $49 will ship free through the Be Elite. So moving on to post, we're looking at Alpha Aminos from Cellucor. I have it here in Icy Blue Raz and Grape, which is my personal favorite flavor.
Yes.
So if you could talk a little bit about what is Alpha Aminos, why should I take it, and What's the deal with that?
All right.
Supp?
So this is
Supp?
It's this Supp.
Yep.
So these are just a BCAA product, like Alec talked about before. It's got our branched chain amino acids, leucine, isoleucine, and valine. It has them in a form called micronized, which means they've been made or processed in such a way that makes them very dissolvable, very mixable, very easily digestible. So that's great. They have wonderful flavors, such pink lemonade, mixed berry, icy blue, grape. But they also have a couple of added ingredients as well. They've got a little bit of betaine, which we've talked about as a strength improving ingredient.
Absolutely.
And then they also have a coconut water extract, which allows you to get a little bit of, I think it's potassium, a little bit of sodium, so some electrolytes to help replenish those that are lost from sweating as well. So,
Also, the flavors.
oh my gosh, the
Them flavors.
Let's go back to that a third time because
Yeah.
they are so good.
Love the grape. I see a question coming in over on Twitch asking about a good source for some of the studies we're talking about in regards to the whether ingredients or products that we're featuring today.
Good source for studies. So I generally look at the main journals: Journal of Applied Science, Journal of Sport Nutrition, and I've used Google Scholar. I go on to PubMed. I go on to Web of Science. So there's a couple of good places to look for these studies, and it's difficult sometimes because researchers really love to hold on to their work until you pay them a bunch of money. So it can be a challenge, and that's one of the reasons we like to cite sources on our products, or at least on our pages, so that we're doing our due diligence there.
I think you'll see that a lot of the product pages as well as in articles. When we do cite some sort of source, it's available there at the bottom of the page, and you can go get additional information or fact check for yourself, which we do recommend as well. Don't take everything for its word. You do want to do your own research. We have opinions, and we are doing our best to research these products as well, but we invite you to go out there and look as well in many of the sources you just mentioned.
And I think one more really good source, and I probably should have mentioned this a little bit earlier, is if you have a local university or a local library, generally they'll get a little bit more access. They'll have contracts with the publishers of these studies, and you can usually walk into the libraries as a guest and ask for some access. And that's
Books.
usually pretty,
Check them out.
And a nice little website to go to as well is examine.com.
Oh, Examine, yeah.
You can look up ingredients based upon their chemical name or just the generic name. On top of that, they will link to kind of claims that a lot of companies like to make in terms of that.
Absolutely.
And the strength of a study. Most of the time it just provides abstracts, but it gives you a good idea of what the study was trying to accomplish. But it's free.
Oh, absolutely,
So-
yeah, Examine.
Let's
So
see.
what's this? What we got here?
We got some RecoverMode.
Ooh, RecoverMode.
Tell me this is white grape. Oh, this is blue raz.
This is
I haven't
blue
tried
raz.
this one.
They have the Furious grape though as well.
Furious grape, yeah.
Angry.
Known for the Furious grape.
Angry grape.
Alec, you want to talk about this one for us?
So RecoverMode, on the trend of what we're working with, this is a BCAA product, but it also happens to have creatine on top of that. Which creatine, oh no, we're back to creatine again. So creatine is phenomenal for post-recovery. A lot of people, you can either take it pre or post, but my preference is post, just for recovery's sake.
Recover mode.
A mode of recovery.
That's right.
Kind of tells you when to take it right there, doesn't it?
And it also happens to have some carnosine, betaine, carnitine L-tartrate, and taurine. So back with the beta-alanine as well with this one. For recovery, you mix creatine, carnosine, and betaine. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. And actually, one of the interesting things about this ingredient, carnitine L-tartrate you mentioned. So again, this is an ingredient that has been associated with fat metabolism a lot. Carnitine is the protein that helps transport fats in the mitochondria, and so people take it to help with fat metabolism. But interestingly, there have been 4 or 5 studies that looked at carnitine supplementation and found that it helps with delayed onset muscle soreness. And so that hurt, that pain that you feel 2 or 3 days after you're working out, we all know what it is. Carnitine has actually been shown to help reduce that just a little bit. Not completely eliminate it. You're still going to feel that burn, which I think is kind of good. I like.
Yeah, it
I
tells
like
you
knowing
did
that
a
I
good
did some
job. Yeah, a
work.
little tight.
But it will be a little bit easier to stretch out, a little bit nicer, and help you get back at it a little bit quicker. So that's kind of cool.
Chris Tidro wants to know, can I just use 100% whey protein after my workouts?
I mean, you could.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, you can. That'll give you all the amino acids you need. It's just not going to give you the effects of some of the other ingredients that we've been talking about.
Well, and it's just options. Options
right.
are good.
Daniel
Like
says, what about casein? Question mark.
What about casein?
Yeah.
So casein is a protein that is made from milk, just like whey. You've heard of curds in whey from Little Miss Muffet. So the curds actually turn into the casein, and it's a little bit more of a fat surrounded protein. So when you take it, that fat keeps the protein from being digested immediately. So it sits in your stomach a little bit longer and absorbs a little bit slower. So because of that, you don't have this big spike in blood protein that goes away very quickly, but you have a much smaller increase in blood protein, and then it lasts much longer.
I guess that's why a lot of people say to take it at night and
Take
before
it at
bed.
night. That's right. So that way you don't enter into what's called a catabolic state overnight after not having eaten for 6 or 8 hours.
Unless you're planning on being on the go, taking if you're on a road trip situation, or if you are just really super busy and you just want to take something that's going to make you feel a bit fuller longer, you're going to feel a little more satiated, you're not going to be hangry as much. It's not a bad idea to take some casein.
I'm feeling the hangers right now.
Yeah, it's pretty tough.
Let's see.
We had a long day.
Such a long, such a long day.
So we're going to another post product here, JetMass from GAT.
JetMass.
Flavor tropical ice, another delicious flavor.
Absolutely.
What flavor would you say tropical ice is?
It's like a party of tropical nature. I'm on an island. It's refreshing. It's sweet, yet got a little bit of a tang to it.
Tastes like an oxymoron.
Like a kick in the glass?
No, but yummier than that, I think.
Okay.
No, it tastes awesome.
Great. So this is another cool product. It's a little bit different than some of the ones that we've been looking at. It's not, let's see, is there BCAAs in here? I don't think
I think it's primarily creatine and...
Yeah. So this is a non-BCAA post-workout product. It has 5 grams of the creatine monohydrate that we've been talking about, which hits right at that dose that we like so much, 5 grams of creatine. But it's also got 2 grams of carbohydrates. So it's got a little bit of waxy maize and a little bit of starch. What's waxy maize? Yeah. So waxy maize is a complex carbohydrate. It is a high glycemic index carb. What does that mean? It means that it does not spike your blood glucose nearly as high. It's kind of like the casein of carbohydrates, right?
Gotcha.
So they go up a little bit slower and they come down a little bit slower. So if you have both starch and waxy maize, it's going to be a sharp increase in glucose right away, but also a sustained increase in glucose over time. So kind of a cool way to replenish that glycogen like we talked about before.
Absolutely. Need some.
Let me give another product from Cellucor, beta BCAAs in Tropical Splash. It has 6 grams of citrulline malate, and it's a post-recovery product.
There you go.
It's pretty new, too. I think this came out in the market like a month or so ago.
Oh, is it pretty new?
I think it's pretty new, yeah.
This also works highly for post-workout, obviously, with the BCAAs. However, if you are looking for a non-stim, good blood flow product, you can also use this for that.
That's right.
So the citrulline is phenomenal for those purposes.
I have a question here on Facebook about plant-based products. Any plant-based products? I don't know if that's just asking us about today's sale or whatnot. We do have a variety of plant-based products available on Bodybuilding.com. You can search for those in our store. Do you guys know if any of the products we're featuring today are plant-based, or can you speak to that?
I would say that, so we got Ergo BCAAs over here. That is fermented BCAAs, so those are vegetable-based.
Cool.
And then we also had the waxy maize carb product before. Maize, obviously a type of corn. So that'll be plant-based as well. Generally, though, when people are asking plant-based, I think they're talking about like soy proteins or pea-based proteins, and I don't believe we have any of those today.
Okay. But we do have them available on the site. Check them out.
I got a question over here. Are certain supplements better than others? Like, is whey protein better than creatine, Alec?
Again, it depends on your purpose of what you're doing, what they're trying to do. They both are used to accomplish a similar goal if you're trying to work on strength, size, even aid in recovery. However, they're better when you do them together.
Aw.
So I like to do that.
Synergy.
And synergistic. And, but they, again, when it comes down to it, if you want to, creatine's cheaper, that's just a fact. If you plan on supplementing your food for your protein, if you have a Costco fetish that you just go there and spring for 20 pounds of chicken that you plan on just eating up through the week, do that.
Been there.
Do it. However, creatine, I don't know. I'd rather end up having creatine in my day, just the amount of benefits that it has. But again, you know.
Just like you said, it all comes down to what your goals are.
Exactly.
Kind of going back to the last question about plant-based products, soy protein versus whey protein.
So this depends, I believe, on what your health is like. So if you're asking me if I'm a healthy person with no dietary restrictions, is soy protein going to be more effective than whey protein, or is whey protein going to be more effective than soy? There's not going to be a huge difference there. Whey protein is going to absorb a little bit faster. It's been shown that whey is going to absorb faster than just about every other protein out there. Okay. But for people who are lactose intolerant, you can't really take whey because whey comes from milk and it's going to have that lactose in there and you're going to have some digestive issues. But as far as protein goes, it's protein. It's made of the 20 amino acids and so is soy. You're going to have everything there that you need. And so if you're, it just comes down to
more of a dietary or
it's
personal
dietary
preference?
issue. That's
okay.
right.
Okay. Someone saying here says soy protein contains estrogen is kind of the the counterbalance there to the question you
So
just
it
answered.
doesn't contain estrogen, but there have been studies that show that soy, or at least one of the constituents of soy, could potentially mess with some of the enzymes that process estrogen. And so it's similar to D-aspartic. There is conflicting evidence. There is evidence that shows that yes, soy would increase your estrogen balance. There are also studies that show that soy has no change on your estrogen balance.
So I can keep eating my edamame.
I think you should just go crazy. That's right.
All right.
But I think that would be something if you should try out for a little while, talk to your doctor and see if they have anything to say about it. But at least from my experience, there's evidence on both sides, and I drink whey protein, so I don't see it too much.
I have a question here from Kyla about, so none of these products are safe for nursing moms?
Ooh.
Well, that's hard just because none of us have an MD at the end of our names.
I do not have the knowledge to talk about nursing mothers. That is
Yeah, it's come up a few times, so I just wanted to bring it up. We see your questions. Some things are going to be better to bring up with your doctor. We can make recommendations on the products we have here for your goals and how they align, but when we start getting into specifics there, it's probably safer that you reach out to your doctor or your general practitioner to answer those questions for you.
I have opinions on it, but I don't think here is the place to talk about opinions. I want to make sure I'm only giving facts, and facts about nursing is not in my wheelhouse. So
Yeah, sorry we couldn't be more specific there, but we're just trying to shoot it to you straight.
Quick question, Beefy Gains is asking, whey isolate is lactose free though, right? It is very close, and there are some products that can be really, really close to lactose free. And I know I've had friends that are lactose intolerant that take whey isolate with some success. But there are some who are just so darn sensitive to lactose, you just don't want to get close to
Kind
it.
of a spectrum, I guess.
Well, absolutely.
Well, and frankly, if you look at the label, the allergen warning on a whey isolate or even a hydrolyzed whey, it's still going to say warning contains dairy.
It'll still say
so
milk, yeah.
even if it's in minuscule amounts, it's still going to be there for your safety, for everybody else. But it's not necessarily affect you as much. I know that my fiance, she's lactose intolerant, and she has a hydrolyzed whey, and she usually does pretty well. But then again, not all of us are the same in terms of that.
That's right.
Let's talk a little bit about Cell-Tech. We have here from MuscleTech that's available for 25% off for the next 12 hours or so. Again, any of these products will ship free on orders over $49. And check out the sale. It's only lasting for a couple more hours. But more specifically about Cell-Tech, what are the benefits of taking this product, and what is it all about?
Carbs. It's all about getting those carbs to push that glycogen balance back up after you work out. This is a pretty high dose. You can take it in 1 or 2 scoops, and let's see, the sugar content is 15 grams at 1 scoop, which is a pretty significant amount of sugar. Yeah. So it's a good way to get a big bump in your blood glucose, and that way you'll be recovering a little bit more quickly. It is a little bit more high calorie. That glucose contains a lot of calories in it, and if you are looking to cut, this may not be the product for you. But if you are okay with being a little bit bigger and you want to recover for tomorrow's big lift, this might be for you.
And calories. That 5 grams of creatine, though.
Oh yeah, love it.
Let's see. Moving on to the Ergo BCAAs. We also had another question related to protein, and I think we touched on this a little bit earlier, but for Cam on Facebook, is there a benefit to taking different protein at different points during the day?
That'll go back to what we talked about earlier. It just depends on where you want your protein balance to be when. So if you want to take a protein right after you're done exercising, whey might be a good idea. That way you're getting that instant spike in blood protein because whey absorbs so quickly. I mean, it's as fast as like 15 or 20 minutes you're seeing increases in blood protein, which is really great. But if I'm going to take a protein shake right before bed, I don't want my protein to spike up real quick and then die after 2 hours, because then I'm still going to be sleeping and then I might go catabolic, which is not what we want.
No.
So maybe before bed you're going to take your casein, and that'll allow your blood protein to be a little bit higher for a little bit longer, even though it's not going to go up quite as high, but it'll be sustained.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I've heard a lot about drinking 30 grams of protein upon waking or within 30 minutes after training. Like, is there any real science behind those things, or do you recommend taking protein at those
anabolic
times?
window.
The window.
Quote, unquote.
It's
like this big.
It's 4 minutes.
I mean,
how long is it? How long is the anabolic window?
Anabolic window, man, another one of the conflicting results. I've seen studies that show that taking protein after you exercise is the most effective way to make sure that your muscles are fueled and ready to go. Mm-hmm. And I've seen just as many studies on the other side saying as long as you're taking protein and your blood amino acids are high during your exercise, period of weeks, as long as you maintain good protein status, then you're going to be successful and you're going to see gains of equal nature.
And I think that's the key, prioritizing protein, whether it be in your supplementation or in your whole foods diet, making sure that you're getting enough protein. We say anywhere between 1 and 1.5 grams of protein per desired lean body mass. Yeah, so as long as you're prioritizing it and getting it before your workouts, after your workouts, right after you wake up, just timing it at the right time that works best for your lifestyle, whatever your goals may be. If you're trying to get enough calories to grow, you're probably going to need more shakes. Because if you need more calories, you're going to need more protein.
Some of those gainers.
If you're trying to diet and you're trying to lose some weight and you're trying to get leaner, you're still going to need to incorporate the shakes, but you're going to have to balance that out with what your calorie and macronutrient goals are for the day.
If you'd rather eat your food versus drink your food.
Quick question from Owufu1 on Twitch. It says 2 scoops when? After workout? So unfortunately not super clear on if he wants the 2 scoop pre's or 2 scoop protein shakes. And again, that's all going to depend on how much do you need. Do I need extra protein? If I need extra protein, maybe I'll take 2 scoops. If I need to lose some weight, maybe I'll only take 1 scoop. If I need extra caffeine, if maybe the pre-workout's not a very strong one, then maybe I might 2 scoop it. But maybe it's a super strong pre-workout and I'll only take 1 scoop. So that's the answer to that one is a resounding, it depends.
Depends on application. So let's see, are there any BCAAs up there that you want to talk about? Well, we want to talk about Ergo here. We have the Ergo BCAAs in the wild berry flavor, which is delicious. But tell us a little bit about Ergo BCAAs. What's the deal? This is a 2-1-1 blend of fermented BCAAs.
Alec, you want to take that one?
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm glad you brought up the ratio. So a lot of that is, you'll see anywhere between 2-1-1, meaning that that's just a breakdown of leucine, isoleucine, and valine. Or you're going to see some people like to do a 3-1-1.
I've seen as much as 4-1-1.
I saw an 8-1-1 the
Oh,
other day. That's a lot of leucine. Leucine is the king when it comes to the 3,
That's
but
right.
I don't necessarily know if you need that much per se. However, for a product like this, like we've talked about, branched chain amino acids, if you're trying to just get a little sweet snack in there, just want to drink something, a lot of them taste a lot like Jolly Ranchers.
Oh my gosh, they're so good.
And then say if you want to do like a little bit of cardio in the morning, get something in your stomach, kickstart it. Fantastic for recovery, for muscle building, strength, you name it. Again, most of the time, these are great in terms of filling in the gaps. However, I would still say protein is king, but BCAAs definitely help certain individuals.
Quick question, I guess we're moving back to creatine. Mastinu on Twitch asks, should we be loading on creatine? I read that it's helpful to get in the system faster. So this is pretty common. A lot of studies look at creatine. You take it at doses of 20 grams a day for a week, and then you switch down to 5 grams. And then there have also been studies that say, don't worry about the 20 grams, just take 5 grams a day, and over a period of time you will see strength improvements, and that is true. If you do load, you will get a increased creatine level quicker.
You'll reach that saturation point.
That's right. Saturation is a great way to describe it because your body can only hold so much, but it does take some time to get there. And so if you take 5 grams a day, you're going to get to that saturation point. It just may take a couple or a few weeks.
I think that's the key there. What I'm taking away from that is consistency is key. So whether you're going to load or not, if you load for 2 weeks and then you stop taking it, what was the point of that? The creatine is going to be most effective when taken consistently over time. So if you can work that 5 grams in regularly to your regimen, whether it's in your pre-workout, some we're seeing here have upwards of 3 grams or even in some of the post products, or if you're diligent enough to get your 5 grams separately throughout the day, just be consistent, and that's where you're going to really see the benefits of a lot of these supplements. If you take them one and done, you're not going to reap the benefits of creatine.
Not even a little
Taken
bit.
over time. Same with your whole approach to diet or exercise or anything, really. You can't diet once and lose weight. You know, it didn't take 1 cheeseburger to get you overweight, nor will it take 1 salad to make you back in shape.
No.
So it's the consistency over time, both positive or negative, that's going to yield the results of either gaining muscle, losing fat, whatever it may be. Just be consistent.
Very well put.
And on that topic, I also have a gentleman while we're on creatine real quick. A gentleman asking, I believe, about water retention. Again, a lot of that, the myth is that it just kind of sits in your
water retention from creatine.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
so it just sits in your gut, and then you just kind of feel bloated. And a lot of people have experienced that more with the loading phase, I would think. That's why I prefer, when I started on my creatine, was just 5 to 10 grams a day, spread it out, and do it that way versus just loading a ton of it.
I've never had any problems with creatine. I've tried loading in just 5 grams every day. I've never had any gastrointestinal distress or
I would agree.
bloating or anything like that.
Especially if I'm like even bulking or cutting or whatever, maintaining. It sits well with me, just fine.
I mean, it's possible that some people may be experiencing something a little bit different. And I mean, one solution to that might be trying a different form of creatine.
That's true.
I know we have an article on our website that talks about all the different types, whether it be creatine nitrate or creatine HCl or creatine monohydrate, and maybe the different ways that those might apply to your fitness goals. So if you're having issues with monohydrate, maybe try something else. In the end, they're all going to get creatine into your system and increase that phosphocreatine system. So the end result is basically the same, but it might just go about a different way getting there. So
Absolutely.
maybe try something else.
We're about to move on to some other products, but I have two questions in relation to MuscleTech's Clear Muscle. And I think that's an interesting product. We're not featuring it here today, but I think this bottle here probably is very reminiscent of the product. So a little bit of, I believe it's an HMB product.
Yeah, Alec is actually a big proponent of the Clear Muscle.
Yeah, no, for recovery purposes, it's hard to say like with the percentage of the claims necessarily on the front of it in terms of the studies side of it. You would have to, I would say, do exactly what Dr. Jacob Wilson says to a T for that to maybe follow with that. However, I would say for me, I definitely feel like my bounce back is quicker. I always call them kind of my Wolverine pills just because of the metallic container. So it definitely helps with, especially if you have weak points you're trying to hit. If you want to get your shoulders a little bit bigger and you train them multiple times a week, but you don't want to necessarily overtrain and hurt yourself, I feel like it definitely gives me a little bit more recovery time and bounce back.
Good.
And allows you to
Shortens your recovery time.
Exactly.
Cool. So that's on Clear Muscle here. We have, let's see.
What do we got in front of us?
Yeah, this is MuscleTech's Platinum Multi.
Right?
And why don't we talk a little bit about why we should even be taking a multivitamin, and maybe more specifically about this MuscleTech product versus other multis.
So in general, a multivitamin is never a bad idea. You know, we know that vitamins come from a multitude of sources, whether you're getting them from meats or fruits or vegetables. But we also know that getting the amount of meats or fruits or vegetables that you need to hit your recommended daily allowance of these ingredients can be challenging. You know, I don't want to eat half a pound of kale every day to get my vitamin K.
It's a lot of kale.
It's a lot of kale, and it doesn't taste that good.
Kale salad.
So this again comes back to the definition that we've been talking to for a long time. It is a supplement. This is something that you take in addition to a good, healthy diet to make sure that you're hitting your daily allowance for all the main vitamins and minerals that you want as a part of your exercise regimen.
And it looks like this product also has digestive enzymes. Why would it be beneficial to include a digestive enzyme in my multivitamin?
Well, you know, you're taking a lot of protein, you're taking a lot of supplements, you're eating a lot because you're exercising, and maybe it just might be helpful to have those enzymes there to help break down food and digest a little bit easier.
Gotcha.
I wouldn't say that it helps digest this product any better, but it may help with eating other things as well.
Gotcha. That makes sense. And then we've had a couple questions. We're not featuring one today, I don't believe, but about ZMA. What is it? Why should I take it? And is it beneficial or just a waste, as Alex put it here on Facebook?
You want to talk about ZMA?
Ooh, ZMA. So a lot of people
ZMA. For our nice friends over in the UK.
A lot of people will try to take this particular just for its testosterone boosting product. However, more studies coming out nowadays. It's definitely better for like a deeper sleep and allowing you to get into REM. And REM is when you're recovering the most. And if you have issues sleeping, it's not a bad idea to add. A lot of ZMA products will, in fact, have a little bit of a melatonin aspect as well. So not only will you get some funky dreams, but you'll sleep a little deeper.
Sleep, yeah. I know when I take ZMA, I sleep like a sack of potatoes.
Oh, yeah?
Down hard, yeah. And I guess that's kind of hand in hand with testosterone levels, right? You need to have adequate rest.
You do.
Is a big part
Absolutely.
of keeping your testosterone levels high or a healthy
and
level.
you know, it's been shown that vitamin B that comes with the ZMA can definitely help you maintain good sleep, help you sleep a little bit faster, and then the zinc and the magnesium are there to help support that testosterone.
Yeah, and if you're like us, getting 8,000 to 10,000 milligrams of caffeine a day, you probably need a little ZMA to
just too much.
call it a night. But moving on to the MusclePharm Armor V, another multivitamin product we have here, a multi-nutrient complex. Let's talk a little bit about that, because this is interesting because it also has a probiotic blend.
That's right. So this is a pretty complex supplement here. It's much more than a multivitamin. It's got a lot more than your standard vitamins and minerals. It's got this really great superfood blend. When I say superfood, I mean kale and spirulina and broccoli, and it's got extracts from all of those ingredients packed into this product. So you're getting some of those antioxidants that you want to get from your vegetables, but you might not be getting because it can be expensive to buy all of them, or maybe you're just not eating enough of them.
Vegetables, that's what my food eats, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
There you go. But then it's also got a probiotic blend, which is a starter of the bacteria that your gut holds to help you digest. And so if you're supplementing with a probiotic, that may help with your intestinal gut health, which is good. And then it's also got a little bit of omega-3s to get that fish oil as well. So it's kind of an all-in-one. It's a pretty sweet little deal here.
It looks like it should be a bigger bottle, but it's not.
Yeah, this is great.
Packed.
GAT Sports Men's Multi and Test. This is a multivitamin with testosterone support.
There you go.
Again, these products are available now for the next 12 hours or so for 25% off. And you can get these products to ship free on orders over $49. Just for those that are just joining us, this is a weekly show that we're doing to talk about not just the promotions that we have, but why you should even be taking these products. So please send us your questions. Let us know what you want to hear about. how many grams of protein. We're getting a lot of questions about creatine. Keep them coming. There's
day.
no silly questions. Learning how to lose fat or build muscles can be very complicated, especially for people that are new to the game. So we're here to help you. We work here at Bodybuilding.com. Your goals are important to us. And you can always reach out to us on social media. We're happy to answer your questions. You can find us at Bodybuilding.com on all platforms. You can also reach our customer service. Little do people know that we actually will answer your health and fitness goal questions, and not just, hey, where the heck is my package, but we can actually answer questions related to your goals. So
Absolutely.
hit us on social media, call our customer service, tell them Keith sent you. But hit us with your questions. We're happy to hang out with you guys, and we're really excited to do this, and hopefully you're finding it beneficial. I have a question here about multivitamins for older guys.
Is that a question like which one should I take should I take?
I don't know. I think maybe let's start with, are there benefits or certain types of vitamins that older guys should be looking at? I don't know what we're defining as older guys in this scenario, but let's start there.
It's subjective. I would say that this one right here is not a bad start in terms of that. So a lot of with men, as we get older, our testosterone levels are naturally going to decline. And in this case, this kind of type of product with like tribulus in it is going to support your natural testosterone levels and kind of give you a little bit more boost. So a lot of it with older gentlemen, they find they lack energy, and sometimes just by supplementing with a multivitamin can do the trick.
Yeah, and the same person asked this question, which ones are best? I think you can look to a lot of the products on bodybuilding.com as the best. We have these guys here working on, are the products doing what they say they do? Are the labels containing information that relate directly to the products inside? The products that we sell, you can trust. That's why we sell them. We're pretty. We have a whole compliance team that focuses on this daily. So if we sell them, yeah, we're quite confident that these are the products that are going to help you achieve your goals.
And I also have a fun question over here unrelated to, actually it's kind of what we talked about pre the Facebook Live event, fiber.
Oh.
Okay, so just a general question, why is there all of a sudden a push to eat a lot of fiber lately? What does that benefit, and how do you know how much to get, and what are good sources of fiber?
All right. Well, we just talked about fiber in-house not very long ago.
No.
But fiber is a form of carbohydrate that your body cannot break down. So it's glucose molecules stacked up, but in such a way that your digestion doesn't break them. And so they stick together, they make a big clump, and they actually help push everything along. I don't know how to say that eloquently.
We're normal.
It's right. So this can help with digestion efficiency. It can help with staying regular in the mornings, which is really good. And it also makes it so that things aren't sitting in your gut too long.
Absolutely.
Did you say how many grams of fiber we should be shooting for each day?
So again, that's going to depend on your dietary intake. It's going to depend on how big you are. It's going to depend on what your diet looks like. But I've seen general recommendations anywhere from 25 to 30 grams in a day.
I think a little bit, something I read a while back, is anywhere between about 1.4 and 1.8% of your daily calories in grams should be fiber. So, for instance, I have a range for what I usually do. It's between about 37 to about 50 grams roughly a day. And again, that depends on the person. I can tell you that you can get plenty of fiber through plenty of sources. A lot of vegetables, dark greens are going to have fiber in them. Black beans are packed. Whole wheat tortillas are some that you can find that are very high carb with, actually relatively low carb, but with quite a bit of fiber. Even a lot of protein bars are starting to include it. Personally, I prefer moderate fiber, not a ton, just because you don't want necessarily to be totally packed with fiber.
And then we have that same question, like on Fiber Talk, is too much psyllium husk bad? Is too much fiber bad?
Too much fiber, so
it's not going to kill you, but
doesn't feel
it
awesome.
may not be super comfortable.
No, you're going to be a little bit more packed in the third world sewer system, but that's okay.
Yeah.
At least you're on the right track with
Keeping
fiber.
it moving. Just keeping it moving.
But a lot of it is just...
Speaking of moving on, we're going to get
I do have a question before we go on. I do have a question here on Twitch. That was a great segue, though, by the way. Great job. So Mastino from Twitch is asking, with multivitamins that have a serving size of 3 tablets a day, which is very common, should you be taking all 3 of these tablets at once, or do you want to split them up over the course of the day?
Is this Colin? Who is this? They're asking the same question over here. I think we're getting it on all angles, so it's an important question. With multivitamins that have a serving size of 3 tablets daily, should you take all 3 at once, or split them up throughout the day?
I would say just for consistency's sake, just do them all at once.
That's what I do. I don't think there's any issue with taking them all at once. If you'd like to take them over the course of the day, you're definitely welcome to.
I take them at bedtime because I put them by my toothbrush so I don't forget.
Makes it easy to remember,
it only happened to me once. I took vitamins on an empty stomach in the morning, and then I blew chunks because it just sat really nasty in my stomach. So after that, I was like, all right, let me do this at night. Never had a sour stomach from it. Never blue chunks from those vitamins ever again. But yeah, some of them are 3, 6 pills a day. I'll just hammer them all.
They're pretty serious, yeah. But like I said, I've never read anything about issues with absorption of vitamins if you take a bunch at once. I mean, you're taking very minute amounts in the sometimes microgram doses, so your body shouldn't have any issue with getting all those in if you take them at the same time. So it's completely at your preference.
Cool. We have EVL VitaMode here.
VitaMode.
Talk a little bit about how this is different than some of the other vitamin products we've been talking about.
Well, not only does it have a digestive blend like some of the ones we're talking about, but they put pretty heavy load on lutein and zeaxanthin for eye support. So a lot of it comes down to it. You know, most of us nowadays, we're staring at a computer for X amount of time a day.
Yes, we are.
Thankfully, I don't have glasses yet, but that doesn't mean it's not going to happen.
Contacts.
However, plenty of people are getting not enough of vitamin A throughout the day in different forms, and this multivitamin in particular is definitely focusing on that.
Cool. Speaking of the 6 pill a day or 3 pill a day,
VitaLinx.
Yeah, this one's 5. VitaLinx from Supps. I'd say this is the biggest one out of the
serving.
Yeah, it's 150 tablets in this container, and it's 5 servings. So this is a month supply right here.
5 pills per serving.
5 pills per serving, yeah. So it's 30 servings in the container. Why is this one so stacked? I'm really interested in this, actually. I've never heard of this product. I'm familiar with Supps, but I'm not familiar with their
So I believe it's the inclusion of 2 ingredients in particular. They're adding both L-carnitine and conjugated lanolinic acid, so CLA, which is a very popular supplement. And so because you're getting all that, you get a little bit of fat burning support. There are studies that show that taking CLA can actually help with fat metabolism. And again, we've talked about L-carnitine multiple times in being the protein that helps with shuttling those fats into the mitochondria. So this would be a cool way to do that. It's just if you're going to include those in your multivitamin, it's going to make that pill a little bit bigger. Yeah. Or if you want to keep the pill the same size, then you have to take more of them,
servings. Yeah.
So.
And not on that note with it, it's more, not only is the container bigger because the serving size bigger, but the reason it is because they combine 3 or 4 different kind of products that would be standalone, but in this one. So on top of that, it has CoQ10 in it for a lot of healthy heart function support. On top of that, joint support with chondroitin and glucosamine. So you're getting these products that are by themselves out there, but Supps was smart and decided to combine it all into one.
Just put them all in one place.
All right, so all these products we featured today are available for 25% off for the next few hours. Be sure to check them out, and if you have an order over $49, that whole shipment will ship free.
Hey-o.
So we're about to sign off. We will field a few more questions here. Let's start. Let's take one more from Twitch if you have one.
What's the best way to track all of your nutrients you're getting daily?
Are we talking micronutrients or are we talking macronutrients?
We're talking
Let's say
macro.
yes.
I track with precision my micronutrients.
Do you?
No.
Okay.
Choose a micro.
Not even a little bit. But I think we're talking about macronutrients.
Probably
here.
macros.
Yeah.
MyFitnessPal is just a good general one to go to for that. If you're doing it right in most foods with their labeling, if they're being completely accurate with what you're doing, a lot of them will have micronutrients on there. And I know a lot of people that will, not only what websites from companies have plugged in, but other people have kind of fact-checked labels and put them in there as well. So
it's super easy. You can scan barcodes. Many of the restaurants you go out to, there'll be those meals there. So if you're at the Olive Garden and you're eating something like that, like a lot of people go out of their way to track that stuff. A lot of companies are putting that information in there as well.
20 breadsticks.
So all the breadsticks, all the salad, all the soup. But yeah, MyFitnessPal is a great one. And once you get a handle on it, I find after you use a tool like that for a while, you have a much better idea of what a serving size is or how much you need to get to kind of hit your goals. So I find, yeah, you're using that in and out, day in, day out for, say, 90 days. You'll have a pretty good idea on what a piece of chicken, a half a cup of rice, and this, that, and the other thing, and how that all fits in your daily allowance.
Intuitive eating becomes quite a habit at that point, and you don't necessarily need to rely on logging at that point. It'd be harmful for a lot of people to try to say that we're trying to make you dependent upon this and that for everything. It's a healthy lifestyle, not only physically, but for mentally as well. So you will be a little bit better once you've gotten to a point where it's just intuitive.
And what do you got over here on
YouTube? A lot of the questions that have been asked on here have been very similar to what's going on. A lot of creatine.
Yep.
And then let's see here. Where is another good one we got? ZMA, we talked about a little bit.
ZMA.
A lot of people say they don't want to bulk, which is, it's summer, I get it.
Calories low.
I get it.
So we touched on a lot of these, sounds like.
No, everybody did a good job.
We have one question here on Facebook I don't think we've touched on yet, and that is in regards to, where did it go? Oh, is there a difference in fish oils and what's a recommended dosage?
Well, you've been researching this one a lot lately.
Well, we've been spending a lot of time with fish oil here in the office just because we've been, dealing with a lot of people sending in products to us and wanting to make claims on these products. So one of the biggest recommendations that I've read about fish oil is that you want to get the equivalent of having between 4 and 5 servings of fish per week.
Okay.
And so that recommendation comes from the American Heart Association because they have done a very large amount, very long-term, very wide-ranging studies on people who eat large amounts of fish, people who supplement with fish oil, and what are their outcomes when it comes to heart health over long periods of time. And so they have found that there is a correlation between people who have between 4 and 5 servings of fish per week and have more long-term heart health, lower incidences of cardiovascular issues. And so according to the American Heart Association, the recommended dose is about 500 milligrams a day. And so if you're supplementing with 500 milligrams or 1,000 milligrams, as long as you're getting that AHA recommended dose, you should be doing pretty good.
Great. And we touched on pretty much all of our questions here. If we didn't get to it, sorry. Please, we'll try to get back to them in the comments section. And always, you can hit us up on social media. Our handle is Bodybuilding.com across most platforms. You can also reach out to our customer service team. Yeah, and join us next week. We'll be doing this every week, talking to you about the products we have in promotion. This week, it's 25% off some of these top Supps we featured here. And again, those products will ship free on orders over $49. But until next week, yeah, it's like 12 hours, get after it. But until then,
What's up?
What's up?
What's up? Thank you.